because one simple shift in the way you speak could completely change the direction of your life. What if I told you that I could predict your future without looking at your goals, your vision board, your bank account, or your calendar? I would simply listen to you talk. I'd listen to how you describe yourself, how you describe your marriage, your business, your health, your past, your parents, money, politics, God. And within just a few minutes, I could tell you the level of consciousness from which you're living. Because your words are never just words, they are the audible expression of your consciousness. Most people believe they're describing reality. They're not. They're revealing the beliefs, emotions, assumptions, and identity structures through which they experience reality. So the question isn't whether your words have power. The question is this: what are your words revealing about the reality you're unconsciously creating? That's what we're going to explore today. Your words are not just words. What you speak is the audible expression of your consciousness. In other words, the language you use reveals your beliefs, your emotions, your assumptions, and the frequency from which you're living. Reality is not simply reflecting what you want, it is reflecting your consciousness. So, what is consciousness? It's the sum total of what you believe, what you think, and what you feel. It is the habitual frequencies stored within your nervous system. It is the ongoing electrical activity of your brain expressing itself through repeated thoughts and emotions. You are vibrating all the time, and you don't create what you merely want. You create what you consistently embody. The experiences in your life are reflections of the thoughts, emotions, and beliefs you repeatedly carry. Life is a mirror. Your bank account is a mirror. Your relationships are a mirror. Your business and your career are mirrors. Each one reflects your consciousness. If you've spent time in personal growth, you've probably heard about I am statements. The idea comes from one of the most powerful stories in the Bible. Moses, after losing everything he once knew, finds himself tending sheep in the wilderness. He encounters the burning bush, where he receives the mission to return to Pharaoh and lead the Hebrews out of slavery. Naturally, Moses asks, "Who is speaking to me?" The answer comes, "I am that I am." These words point to the deepest essence of identity, the core of being, the foundation of consciousness itself. That's why I am statements are so powerful. Every I am statement is a declaration of identity, and every declaration becomes an instruction to your subconscious mind. Spiritually and psychologically, these may be the most powerful words you'll ever speak. When you say, "I am poor, I am unlucky," or "I am unwanted," you're not simply describing your circumstances. You're claiming an identity. And an identity is one of the strongest forces shaping your consciousness. Eventually, your outer reality begins reflecting that identity back to you. How you speak about yourself shapes your consciousness. Every repeated declaration becomes another vote for the person you're becoming. And there's something even more important. You hear yourself say these words. When someone else calls you an idiot, you have the choice to reject it. But when you call yourself an idiot, those words bypass much of your conscious resistance. They penetrate directly into your subconscious because they come from your own voice. Think about your own inner dialogue. How do you usually speak about yourself, whether out loud or silently inside your own mind? Now consider how you speak about others, your spouse, your business, money, politics, the economy. Every complaint reinforces the consciousness you're occupying. If your reality reflects your inner world, then every complaint is strengthening the very reality you're trying to escape. This is why therapists and coaches often notice something remarkable. When someone repeatedly accuses another person of something, they're often revealing an accusation they secretly carry about themselves. Complaining is not only damaging, it's addictive. We all do it. Maybe you wake up saying, "I'm exhausted. I have too much to do. This day is going to be stressful. Why does everything always happen to me?" These may seem harmless, but complaining repeatedly activates the brain's threat response. Neuroscience shows that chronic complaining strengthens negative neural pathways through neuroplasticity. It increases cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. Over time, your brain becomes more efficient at finding problems. Then something else happens. We begin sharing those complaints with other people. They agree with us, they validate us. Our brains receive a small dopamine reward. The habit becomes socially reinforced. Eventually, Complaining becomes automatic rather than conscious. Your brain gets better at finding exactly what you keep focusing on. This is why speech becomes such a valuable tool for self-awareness. You may not notice all 60,000 thoughts passing through your mind each day. They happen too quickly, but you can notice what comes out of your mouth. Pay attention to the stories you tell, especially the stories you tell about your past. Many people are living the same emotional day over and over again. Like the movie Groundhog Day, they continue repeating experiences that no longer exist except through memory. At my live events, I'll ask someone what they want. Instead of telling me about the future they desire, they begin telling me everything that happened years ago: my childhood, my ex, my parents, my failures. Every retelling keeps the old identity alive unless you assign a new meaning to the experience. Much of our speech falls into three categories: negative identity statements, complaints, or stories that keep us emotionally attached to a past we claim we want to move beyond. Speech is where thoughts become more solid. By the time an idea reaches your lips, it has become more deeply embedded in your consciousness. Reality is energy. Thoughts carry energy. Emotions carry energy. Beliefs carry energy. Speech amplifies that energy. Napoleon Hill famously wrote that thoughts are things, but spoken words become even more powerful because they represent thoughts given form. Speech is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is your first physical act of creation. That's why learning to observe your language can sometimes be easier than trying to monitor every thought. Another important distinction is the difference between affirmations and decisions. Florence Scovel Shinn often spoke about the difference between wishing and deciding. Hope often speaks from lack. Decision speaks from completion. Notice the difference between saying, "I hope one day I'll become financially successful," and saying, "I am becoming financially free and prosperous," or "I hope someday I'll be healthy," compared with, I choose health. I live as a healthy person. One comes from uncertainty, the other comes from identity. In the opening chapter of Genesis, the words are not, "I hope there will be light." Um, the command is, "Let there be light." And there was light. Throughout the Gospels, Jesus repeatedly speaks about faith expressed with certainty. He teaches that when belief and speech align without doubt, extraordinary change becomes possible. The invitation is to speak from conviction rather than fear. Remember this as well. You are not only broadcasting your words, you are receiving them. Your own voice constantly programs your subconscious. That's why it's just as important to guard what enters your mind as what leaves your mouth. Reduce unnecessary noise. Be intentional about what you watch, what you listen to, who you spend time with, the books you read, the conversations you entertain, even the physical things you put into your body influence your nervous system. Your environment is programming you every single day. If you want to master your speech, you must also become intentional about your inputs. Today, we live in a world of endless scrolling, instant gratification, constant notifications, and nonstop stimulation. That environment is not designed to cultivate conscious language or a peaceful mind. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, don't try to change your life overnight. Don't focus on making more money. Don't try to fix every relationship. Don't chase confidence. Simply listen. Listen to every I am. Listen to every complaint. Listen to every excuse. Listen to every judgment. Listen to every story you tell about your past. Treat your words as a window into your consciousness because that's exactly what they are. Before you speak this week, pause for just 1 second and ask yourself, is this sentence reinforcing the person I've been, or is it expressing the person I'm becoming? Every word is a vote. Every sentence strengthens an identity. Every conversation is a rehearsal for your future. Eventually, what you rehearse becomes what you embody. So speak carefully, speak intentionally, speak with possibility, speak with certainty. Not only because the universe is listening, but because you are. When your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, nervous system, and words begin moving in the same direction, you create powerful inner coherence. And from that coherence comes the ability to build a life that once seemed impossible. Your words are not merely describing your world, they are revealing the consciousness from which your world is being created. Choose them wisely. If this message encouraged you to think differently, please subscribe to Stories end quotes be? Because every week we share timeless wisdom and life changing ideas that help you grow into the best version of yourself. If this video resonated with you, leave a comment sharing the one phrase or belief you're choosing to replace this week and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, every word you speak is shaping the person you're becoming.